888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O with today's expert in their field.
Hey, good afternoon. You got another Ask the Experts show, and hey, we are definitely appreciating your phone calls. In fact, if you'd like to call today's show, you can call us at 888-565-1470 if you have a question about family law. We don't just have a family law attorney. I'm going to make you blush. We have a certified family law attorney. She's been with us for the last 2 years. Say hello to Tina Leward.
2 years. That's
two
insane.
years. Tina Leward.
Hello.
And we're now on 95.3. We just started that about a month ago. People are moving over there.
Very impressive.
Yeah, we got 2 stations now. We're on 1470 here. If you want to go to 95.3.
And on my website.
Yeah, give everybody your website because someone just complimented me. They love where you put the Ask the Experts at.
Oh, good. Yeah, on the website it's www.lewertlaw.com, LEWERTLAW.com. So there's a link on there, and I think if you click it, the screen pops up.
You know, I was thinking about this driving over. The way things are today with marriages, you're going to want to write this number down because you never know. Could be a year from now, could be 5 years, but
10 years, 20
you're
years.
You're going to be here. I know that. 561-220-0123. That's Tina's number. And if you'd like to watch today's show, you can go to her website right now, www.lewertlaw. It's spelled LEWERT law.com. You can go right there. You scroll down the right-hand side of the page, and you'll see the Ask the Experts. You can watch today's show. So we got these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we should start charging these people.
No,
Tell people, first of all, what is a certified family lawyer?
Sure, it's board certified.
Board
is the name.
certified.
So there's a designation by the Florida Bar called board certification. You can be board certified in several areas of law, actually a number of areas of law, criminal law, civil trial law, real estate law. So I'm board certified in marital and family law. And what that means is that the Florida Bar has designated me as an expert in that area of practice. You have to, there are a bunch of rigors that they put us through to become board certified. There's a really quite difficult, actually, exam. There's a level of experience, a certain number of trials you have to have, peer evaluations, judicial recommendations, and you go through the rigors and you become board certified. It's a huge honor. And really,
most lawyers are not certified.
Most lawyers in general are not board certified in any area of the law. And so there are only, I think, less, like I always say, last time I checked, it was like 274, 275 in the whole state, period,
That's
ever,
not
are
a
board
lot.
certified in marital and family anyway. So, it's...
And you can actually tell people that you're an expert.
I can say I'm an expert.
Most
I can say
lawyers
I'm a
cannot say that.
specialist. Right. So if you are not board certified, you cannot advertise or tell people that you're an expert or that you specialize. So I tell people to watch out for that. In all areas of the law, if you really want somebody who does this, whatever this is, whether it's estate planning or what you want somebody who's an expert, don't you?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would think also, because now you practice a lot in Palm Beach,
Correct.
but you also do Broward.
Mm-hmm. Palm Beach and Broward mainly. So.
And you're so good, you even get calls from out of town.
I do.
That want you to represent them.
I do. I just took a new case in
Brevard, weren't you in Brevard?
I was in Brevard. Yeah, I just took a new case in Miami. I don't really get down there much, and it's sometimes I ask the clients, are you sure? Because I've got to travel or I've got to go where you are, which is fine. I don't mind doing it. I'll do it. But, there may be certain benefits of having someone in your area who knows the judges, who knows the local procedure. But some people, I've had clients that tell me, no, I like you and I want you.
You're
So you got to.
certified, though. So there are not a lot of board certified family law attorneys even in Miami.
Yeah, you've got to look around, and different. I mean, Miami's a big area, so there are some, but you've got to look around. There are some areas of the state where there aren't many, some cities where there aren't any. So you've got to look around, and so people look for things like that. And also, there's a level of comfort, especially in this area of law, when you're talking to your attorney, when you're interviewing attorneys. You have to feel comfortable because it's a very personal matter that you're dealing with. Typically, it's your life, it's your children, and there's going to be a level of trust, and there's going to be really a one-on-one relationship that develops. And so it has to do with that too. I think the person that you're talking to. So
I have talked to so many women who go now years down the road and go, you know what? I sacrificed on how much I paid an attorney, and I got really hurt bad. And it's really sad because, I mean, I'm sure men do too. But,
Men do too.
But you've got what, this
I
is
talk
not
to
the
both that
place
say
to
the same
script.
thing.
Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I hate to say this, but and the truth is, yes, the Florida bar tells us that board certified attorneys they're allowed to charge more, and you think that in any field where you're an expert, and there are some that you have to look around. There's a going rate, there's a middle of the road, and so you have to assess that when you're shopping for attorneys, but. Generally, just like with everything else, you get what you pay for, and it's a little.
Too, if there's a lot of assets involved.
Yeah.
You don't want to scrimp on your attorney. You want to get someone who's really good. You want to get somebody like Tina who is board certified, and you don't have to worry about it 10 years from now. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I spend the little bit of extra money? Because, I mean, we've talked about this before. Just because you're board certified, you're not like way more expensive than everybody else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of board
surprised.
Yeah, a lot of board certified attorneys, including myself, or sort of the going rate and the going rate in the community close to it. And there are some attorneys that charge, I'll tell you, there's some attorneys that charge more than I do,
right,
and more than other peers of mine who are board certified that are not board certified. So you got to, like I said, you got to look around. And, but yeah, you really want somebody who knows their stuff. And I see it all the time. I have people come to me and they show me their old agreement, their previous agreement, and they need to modify something, or they're coming back and they need to change something, or something was left out. And I look at the agreement and I go, oh no, there's so many things that the lawyer obviously wasn't protecting them. And that's what a good lawyer's job is to do, is to look for all the things that you, the client, as the layperson, wouldn't think of. You wouldn't know to think of this or that, or putting certain things into the agreement that might come up later, that might be areas of conflict later, especially like, for example, like when we do custody agreements and parenting agreements and things like that, you're dealing with issues. A good lawyer is just gonna know things to put in that you wouldn't know, or that you don't ever think of, that will come up later. When
we do the show, I don't know, it runs through my mind because I was one of the ones that did not. I hired a friend, and I'm going to tell some people this: don't ever hire a friend. Absolutely not. I mean, this guy he did a horrible job. I had 3 kids, and he had it where I kept paying the same amount till the third child either turned 18.
Right, we talked about this,
yes,
right?
And it was like, what it should have been was when one child turns 18, it goes down.
It goes down each time the next one emancipates.
Yeah, he wasn't even living at home, so I understand that. But that's not the way he wrote it out.
Yeah, and then when you don't account for that for each child emancipating and the child support going down, you're stuck with the same amount the whole time, even when you're down to one minor child, or you'd have to come back and file a whole new modification case and spend more money on lawyers and litigate and all that stuff each time, which nobody wants to do. So.
But you know what? I don't know if everybody's like this, but in my case, I didn't know I could go back in later on, because in Texas, the law's changed.
Right.
So, but how would I know that, though? But I noticed with you've got like this long checklist that if you get someone, because there are people, there's law firms here in town that do 6 or 7 different areas of law. I'm telling you, and this hurts my business saying this, I would never hire a law firm, a boutique, that does 5 or 6, because all you do is family law.
Yeah. And I don't know how, well, and I'll say this, there are some larger firms that have like a family law department, or a real estate department. And so there's they have, the family law people are just doing family law.
Exactly.
But as far as, one lawyer, for example, a sole practitioner like myself I don't know how people do it. Multiple areas of law. How can you possibly know? One area is enough, and I'm I'm an expert, and I'm constantly learning new things. I'm learning new things all the time. I'm constantly going to seminars and updates and reading the newest case law that comes out, and there's always something new. And I just don't know how attorneys do that and master all areas. So like I said, when I tell people what to look for, I've had friends and family say, I need an attorney for this or that or whatever. How should I find one? Not just who should I go to, but how should I find one? I will suggest that first of all, that they talk to several people. Because, like I said, you've got to connect, but also that you look for somebody who just does that one thing. And
if that ever happened to me again, that's what I would do. I'm not putting other law firms down. It's just, you know what? If you've got a family law problem, go see a family law attorney. I mean, to me, that makes a lot of sense. If you've got a bankruptcy, don't go to a PI attorney.
Right.
Go to a bankruptcy attorney.
A friend of mine who's an attorney, she always says, with the board certification thing, the expert designation, she'll say, if you had to have heart surgery, would you go to your general family practice doctor, or would you go to your cardiac specialist, cardiac surgeon? Of course you go to the person.
And let me tell you the next step, because I've learned this by you and I doing so many shows together. Family law is tough on a family law attorney. The bickering, the things that go on that we don't ever think about. Mm-hmm. You've got to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
There's something about you that, if I came in, I would feel so comfortable with you. And I think that's important because you're in a tough business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm, happy to say my clients tell me that they're comfortable with me, or when I give them, the first consultation, that's a good feeling for me, because they walk away saying like, oh, I'm going to sleep tonight. I've been worrying about this stuff so much, and you finally answered some of these questions, and I feel better, and I feel better about things going forward. It's still tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to get through.
Exactly. Especially when kids are involved. And I tell people, I really like it when people come to me and they're equipped with maybe a good therapist to help themselves get through the process, because it's an emotional, even if you have a good attorney and you have someone to guide you and lead you, there's still a lot up in the air until the case is settled or finalized, and it's a tough thing emotionally to get through when you're, like we say, when you're dealing with your children, when you're dealing with, the questions about where am I going to live when this is over? How much money am I going to have to live on? What am I going to wind up with? Am I going to be okay financially? Am I going to have to move from the house I've lived in for many years and uproot my children, or switch their school district? All these crazy things that happen, and getting through that, you got to keep it together. So I really like it, and I recommend a lot of people to get a therapist, get a family therapist, just to help them with the coping skills to get through it, and obviously the relationship too, the demise of the relationship, not to mention. So that's important. But it's the area of practice is not for everyone. I agree. Right. So we started about 2 months ago. We do a lot of social media. I'm on Twitter a lot. And I started promoting the show. And the week before, like in your case, we have a family attorney coming on, it's Tina Lewert. And we start getting a few, what time's the show come on? Can we ask a question? But guess what? I get most of the people tweeting me in the middle of the night.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like
Donald Trump?
Well, no, it's almost like it's laying on their head, like this, like you just said. I mean, family, it's a lot of things. What are my kids? Where are we going to be?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like,
they're up worrying about this stuff. Absolutely.
Worried about this. Mm-hmm. So I even said, instead of worrying, let me give you Tina's number. So what they're doing now is they're sending us questions. And we've done a lot of shows. I've never heard this one. You have.
Okay.
It says, what is parenting plan?
A parenting plan.
Yeah. What is that?
So the statutes were revised a number of years ago. I've lost track actually at this point of how many within the last 10 years. The parenting plan is basically your written custody agreement. So that's what they took years ago. They took the word custody out of the statutes. They took the word visitation out of the statutes. There are they changed a lot of the phrasing. They changed a lot of the nomenclature, and some of the reason they did that, they changed them as designations. We used to put in our settlement agreements or in our final judgments, we'd put who's designated as a primary custodian for the children and a secondary custodian, primary and secondary, or custodial parent and non-custodial parent, and all that was a designation of where the child spent more time, child. So where they spent more time. Primary and secondary have nothing to do with your parenting rights. So you're still equal parents because there's a presumption of shared responsibility, shared decision making, but people would get hung up on these titles and they'd say, I'm the primary parent, so I'm more of a parent than you. And that wasn't accurate. That wasn't how it was meant to be. So for a lot of other reasons, they took out some of the words and they changed a lot of the wording, and they did create a requirement now in the statute, in the custody statute, or we call it now the parenting statute, of a parenting plan. So every time there are children in a divorce case, you have to have a parent or children, among a couple, even if a couple has not been married, their children, there's a parenting plan that we have to do. And the parenting plan, and a lot of states do that. A lot of states have parenting plans. So I think it was a form of, codifying what was already going on in a lot of other states. But a parenting plan is where you write out your whole time sharing schedule. They don't call it visitation anymore in Florida. We call it time sharing. And I know that the idea behind that was that it's demeaning to think that you visit your child. You don't visit your child, you parent them. So your mother and father, you have a schedule. What is the schedule? It's you share the time. It's a time sharing schedule, and that lays weekly, or on every 2-week basis.
Who makes these decisions?
Well, they really want the parents to make the decision. So
but who comes up with all this new terminology?
Oh, the legislature and the legislative committees and all the people that are in, and some of them are actually, there are a lot of them in Palm Beach County, a lot of the attorneys that work very hard and on a volunteer basis to be a part of these committees and really go to Tallahassee and work on this stuff and come up with things that they're trying to make it better. They're trying to make it easier for people. They're trying to minimize litigation, encourage settlement, especially with the parenting stuff. I mean, they want you to go to mediation and work out a schedule. And it's just better, obviously, for families to do that as a first effort, second, third, keep trying throughout the case. Last resort should be trial and having the judge, who's basically a stranger, making the decisions.
An attorney talk like this.
Yeah, well, that's how it should
be. You know
be.
what? We've gone the first 17 minutes of the show with one whole question. I've got to do some grandparent questions because we got a lot of grandparents. We're going to go to break. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert, board certified in family law. If you'd like to call us, if you have a question, you can call us at 888-565-1470. We're going to go to break, but we'll be back with more attorney Tina Lewert.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
We're back here. We have attorney Tina Lewert. She's a board-certified family attorney. You need to write this number down because maybe not for you, maybe for a family member, a friend. Her phone number is 561-220-0123. If you'd like to watch the show or go to your website is wonderful, by the way.
Thank you. I want to say I think on the video stream there's a different number, which the other number is 561-544-6861. That's also correct.
Okay.
So I think what you have is something that they'll all go to my office. Just FYI.
Which one are you using now?
I use the 544-6861, but that number that you have I think that's what's on the website. Okay. So either one, they're fine.
Well, anyway, you've got a great website, whoever's doing your website for you, but you can actually watch our show now. And if you miss some of it, you can actually go back and watch other shows. What we were talking about is that we're starting to get questions on Twitter now, and I got 4 or 5 same questions from grandparents. First of all, do you get calls, and I know what you're going to say about grandparents. Do you get calls from grandparents? Or who do they, because grandparents want to be part of their grandchildren's lives, but it doesn't work that way.
Once in a great while. I feel like I used to years ago, and maybe now it's just more common knowledge, but unfortunately we don't have any
there's nothing you can do.
Legal rights, by statute in the state of Florida for grandparents. So what I always tell my clients is that the kids are going to see their grandparents on, so if it's the husband's parents, they're going to see the husband's parents and have a relationship with that family on the husband's time. As the wife's, same thing. So they're going to have a relationship with their family, but yeah, it's going to be split up between the two parents, and the grandparents don't have any specific rights of their own to have time
so
sharing
basically, whoever the grandparents are on that side, when they have them, that's going to be their time to see them.
Yep.
That's pretty sad.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Depends on how close you are. I mean, maybe you didn't have much to do with your grandchildren.
I think,
it wouldn't bother them.
what I see is I see a lot of the grandparents and other extended family, and they make more of the time. They instead, they don't take that for granted, because they know, well, if you're sharing, half the time or whatever it is, a little more, a little less, then they know, okay, well, we got to make the most of this time. And I actually find that sometimes the relationships and with those family members end up being better with the children. Yeah, because they know they don't take it for granted, and they try to maximize the time and the things they're doing together.
We have a lady here. She said, "Is there any way that it can be written into the agreement, the courts, if you can get the other party to agree to it, that the grandparents can be with the kids?" And she was saying, what if, like, 2 years from now, my granddaughter can't stand me and doesn't let me? Can you put that into the court papers at all?
You mean you put the grandparents' rights into?
Yeah. If both parties agree.
You can put it in there, but, the problem is it's the grandparents are not parties to the divorce case. So the contract, your settlement agreement, your marital settlement agreement, or your parenting plan are between the let's say the husband and the wife, or the mother and the father. Those are the parties to this contract. The third party, grandparents are really a third party. So they could put that in there, and maybe, I mean, this gets a little complex on the contract law, but the grandparents could pursue it or enforce it as third party beneficiaries to the contract. But it's
basically you can.
You could try. You could try. I can't say it would be like super enforceable and super easy.
Here's one. I don't know if I should be afraid of this or not. A gentleman wrote that he said that I paid child support. I've been paying child support for a long time. My ex-wife, I guess, is very ill. What if she passes away? Where do I still have to pay child support? Apparently, the way he was talking, this kids are older.
Yeah, no. Child support does not inure to the estate. So it's not, in other words, it's not something, he doesn't have to pay the support to like her heirs or her estate. But what happens is, what I see a lot of people do is a lot of parents will say they'll agree in their settlement agreement to get life insurance to secure child support. So, and I see both parents do this, because technically, even if one person's paying the other, say the husband's paying, or ex-husband's paying the ex-wife child support, both parties, the idea behind child support in Florida is that both parties are responsible for the financial support of the children. So he's making up his share because maybe he happens to make more, or he sees the kids less, or whatever, by writing that check. But she's still laying out support for the children on a daily basis too, with the meals and the clothes and whatever.
I don't think these are children.
And
I think because he said they all work, they have their own jobs.
Then I don't know if I understand the question.
I guess he's been paying child support for a long time.
Oh, well, he shouldn't be paying if they're emancipated, so I don't know. I'd need to know more about that one.
Maybe
but generally, but I do
behind
see
on child support.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Well, that's something maybe he should call the office about. I can help answer that question. But yeah, generally though, it is a good idea in your settlement agreement to put something in where you're securing you get some life insurance, and with the children, the other party is the beneficiary for the children. So that while your obligation to pay child support exists, if something happens to you, there's still money there for the children's support. And same thing I really like it when both parties agree to do that, if they can do it, if they can both qualify for life insurance, if they can afford it. That way, if something happens to one or the other, there's some support there for the children. And they, especially if one person, if there's a lot of child support
coming. Tell you why someone should not try to do this themselves.
Yeah, I'm not sure I quite get the situation.
But I mean, for anything, because you tell us who would think of some of these kind of things?
Yeah, it's a lot of, and those are just things like that. Those are commonplace for us.
Judge isn't going to help you at all.
As family law attorneys, yeah, but they're things that the judge, you're right. The judge actually can't require child support or can't come up with these things for you, or can't, not child support. The judge can't require life insurance. Sorry, the judge does require child support. I want to correct myself, but they can't require life insurance necessarily. So,
but there's a lot of things, Tina, that you have to make sure that are covered that a layman wouldn't even think about.
Absolutely.
So here you are trying to save money, but it's going to end up costing you more. And this is why it's important to hire an attorney.
Yeah.
Because I've had a few of my friends, and one of them could definitely afford it. I'm just going to do it myself. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
I'm smart. I went, you're not an attorney.
Well, the unfortunate thing is, and we've talked about this too, there are attorneys, I hate to say this, you have to, that's why you have to interview a number of attorneys and be careful who you hire. And there are some attorneys out there who are unethical, who have been disciplined by the bar, who give the rest of us a bad name because they milk the case, they drag it out, and then people get this idea in their head that there are some attorneys that want to just take all their money. You see how much I have in my bank account, and you're gonna just take it as much as you can and get, and it's the sad truth. They're out there, they're among us, and so you have to be careful. And it's unfortunate because it does give people that bad taste. For lawyers, and then they say, "Oh, lawyers are just going to take all our money, and that's no good." And they're not. No, good lawyers are there to help you and save you money in the long run, hopefully, or get you more.
I'm going to say I've never said this before on the show because we work with a lot of lawyers, not only here in Palm Beach and Boca, but all over the United States, and some of the offices I've gone into are not the safest places. So for women, you've got a beautiful office. It's right off of 95. I mean, it's easy to get to, and I'm going to tell you something, you would feel so safe going there. It's a great office.
Yeah.
Give everybody your address.
It's 301 Yamato Road, so it's on the corner of Yamato and Dixie and Boca Raton. And it's a clients like the building. It's a great place. We have 24-hour security, but that's an interesting thing because I've had people come into my office, whether it's for mediation or different things, and depositions. Both parties are showing up, and you have one person. There may be a domestic violence issue, or they're afraid of the other. They don't want to see the other person in the hallway, and we're accustomed to dealing with that, where we're trying to keep everybody separate and. It's
sometimes
those
you have
are
to
things
see
that
clients at
people
night
come
too
across.
after work, don't you?
Sometimes.
So I just said the place is so safe. It's a beautiful building. Even if you live in Palm Beach, it's so easy to get to. And I'm going to say, I have never said this on this show. If you're in Palm Beach or if you're in Fort Lauderdale, it's worth coming to your office. I mean, it's just, I guess I'm so, I don't know what the word is. I just think you're just an incredible attorney. I've learned so much from you.
Thank you.
And you make it, you don't talk over people's heads. I love that.
I try. I really try.
But you do.
I try not to forget that this is the first time. I've done a zillion divorces, but this is your first,
right? Possibly.
So that's something I try to keep in mind when I explain things to people.
We have a couple minutes left, and by the way, we're going to run a rerun that we did about a month ago.
Wow.
So
I'm in reruns.
Yeah, you're in reruns now. Why should I hire you?
Ooh, whoa.
Got you before you got your water.
Have we talked about that for the last half an hour? Yeah, no, it's like I said, if you want somebody, I do. I enjoy what I do. It's important to me. I take the cases and my clients' cases and I know this is their life. This is everything in their life generally, and I take it to heart. I take it as my own. I mean, I really, when I work on my cases, I'm there, I'm up, I'm working, we're going to trial, I'm preparing, where all night on the weekends, and I'm there for my clients. And not only that, but I, like I said, I'm board certified. There are some attorneys in the area that are also board certified. Board certified attorneys generally really know what the hell they're doing. I mean, so those are reasons to look for somebody with those credentials. But I care, and I think a lot of people can tell that.
It's pretty obvious. Give everybody your website address and your phone number.
Website is www.lewartlaw.com, and the phone number is, I'll say the one I use, 561-544-6861. There is a different one on the website, but I think that has to do with that's something that's a search engine tracking thing or something like that, but they'll both work.
Well, we're going to go to break right now. The next show, which is Tina's show, we did have a lot of questions on there, so it will be a different show, and I hope you'll stay around. And
is that the one from last time?
Last
okay.
month. In fact, that was a show that you did with Renee.
Oh, good.
So anyway, we love when you come in, and Tina will be back next month. And hey, keep those questions coming, or you can just send them to Tina. We're going to go to break. We'll see you on the other side.
Thanks.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.